Hey everyone, it's Faupel, and this video is going to be a little inspired by Andrew Huang's series For Producers Flip One Sample. If you're not familiar with the series, it's basically seeing what happens when you give different musicians the same starting material and ask them to turn it into something either inspired or laying the foundation for something of their own. What we ended up doing is myself and two former bandmates have taken a riff provided by a collaborator of mine named Stefan, and we saw what we could create. So here's the riff that we started off with. So once we finished, we jumped on a Zoom call, and what you're going to see is sort of our first impressions of each other's songs and us talking about our first impressions of the original riff and how we took it from the source material to what we ended up creating. Let's get into it. That note, let's briefly introduce ourselves, who we are, what projects we're a part of. What I want to know is what you intended to do with the song, and if you came up with that and like how it adapted along the way. Let's start with Eric. Why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself and all that business?
All right, so my name is Eric. I'm currently in a band called The Fallen. I used to be in a band called Dichotic, and that went pretty well, and Dichotic's still going on. But when I first heard the riff, I knew immediately that I wanted to use the same notes but just interpret it into like a different rhythm. I kept it more or less the same along the same lines. The leads, I think, aren't as important. What I did was just use the same notes. I changed the speed. I made it a little bit faster. And the timing, I put it all in 4/4. And I made it a little bit more happy, I guess.
Nice.
All right.
All right.
How did that turn out, I guess? Do you think you accomplished what you were going for?
I think so. I'm
cool.
pretty happy with how it came out. So
Which one is yours?
the one that says Scarlet Unity.
We are going to listen to Scarlet Unity. Okay.
Scarlet Unity. Okay. That's rad. That was rad. All right, let's go with Stefan. What? So
Sure.
you were the writer of the riff is probably what we left out. What did you think? How did that play out for you?
I didn't know like how far people were going to take it or in what direction, so I kind of assumed that we were just going to be using parts of what I had put together, and so this was a departure for sure. It was interesting. You definitely accomplished a happier part of it. I'll give you that. I did like the melodic developments in there. That was pretty slick, especially towards the end. And the one thing that I kind of wanted to hear, and this is just personal preference, but the one thing I really liked about that riff was some of the uptimeness of the da, 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 da stuff and incorporation with the flat 5 or sharp 4, depending on which side of the coin you're on.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, those are my thoughts.
Cool.
If you want me to clarify anything in particular, I'd be happy to.
What about you, Chowder?
Definitely happy. Like I feel it has darkness to it, but like those leads in there, it kind of like brings out the happiness. Like there's like light in the dark, basically. That's kind of like the way I felt it.
Cool.
And yeah, no, it's definitely different than the actual riff itself. But I mean, you definitely made it your own, and yeah, it definitely stands out for sure. I don't know. It's really awesome. Like I was all smiling while it was playing, so I think that was a good sign.
Yeah, I was too. It definitely like it starts off with the drums and but when the song started, I was like, oh shit. Yeah. So I was
Totally surprising.
Yeah, it was very surprising. I thought that was really cool. A lot of melodic development. I know Eric's a very lead-ish kind of guy, so he likes his leads. So
yeah, he does.
Yeah.
Cool.
Well, good
Thanks.
stuff. All right, so Chowder, why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself?
Well, I'm mostly a bassist, so this is a bit of a new territory for me. I hardly actually have ever recorded guitar for something like this. It's just like a scratch track or a demo or something. But so I kind of took it that route. I mean, I'm more rhythm, so I don't hear any leads. I mean, there's a lead, but not like a shredsy solo-y thing that I added on it. That's just like for melodic purposes in the background. It carries that at first, and then it turns into the background. But yeah, no, I'm mostly. I mean, I'm kind of like with Eric here. I was on the same bands as him in Dichotic, and also I'm currently in the Fallen, but again as bassist. But I actually put it onto 3/4. So I kind of wanted to play with timing a little more than I have on my own. So went with a basic drum beat, changed it a little bit in between the song, and then drove it into, I guess, darkness, really dark, unlike Eric. It's slow, heavy, and dark. So I kind of went with.
Yours,
Yeah.
I assume, is Slow Walk with the Dead.
Yeah.
Okay.
I saw the titles and I was uploading it. Let me change it real quick. I gotta make it dark.
Such a Chowder name too.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'll see you all in about a minute or a couple minutes or so.
Cool.
Let's do it.
Right off the bat, very waltz. Okay, that's definitely like nightmarish when you're looking for a nightmarish song. Okay. Cool. Yeah. Cool.
Short and sweet.
Yeah. Cool.
That was interesting.
Yeah, that was
totally different, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that one hit like right off. You know, like with Eric's, you know, you had the drum, the drum fill or the drums leading off and stuff. So I think it was cool to hear that right off, and sort of the what you would do throughout the song.
Because like one of the main things that I like to do is build up, but I don't know what it felt about this one. I just felt I had to go right in with the drums and the guitar, not like building up to it. But I mean, that building up element is still there. It's not really building up; it's just transitioning in a way that it feels like it keeps building up and adding more to it.
The thing I liked about this one is it's different from Eric's in that like Eric's had a lot of melodic development and stuff. This one developed harmonically throughout the song, which I thought was pretty cool.
It had a very like symphonic vibe as well. Like it felt like there's a shit ton of tracks in there.
How about you, Stefan? What?
Yeah, I like the melody there, and I appreciated how it sort of you added elements of like complementing melodies or harmonies. I get lost in that gray area, but as it developed, like it had like a natural sense of, all right, so this is where we're going, and I liked it. I think it would be cool to see that turn into a full song as well.
I was thinking the same thing. I was thinking like I wonder where this could go, you know, with like some proper development, like giving it some time and all that. I was wondering like what could this be?
I kept on like, and that's like a different variation of many things I kept trying whenever I kept trying to create this little snippet. I kept on like playing with it and not liking it, then recreating it, then finding the wrong harmonies or something that didn't mesh well. I'm like, wait a minute, but that sounded cooler. Let's go with that. So I just kept on like, you know, like erasing it and redoing it, erasing it and redoing it.
Yeah. Eric, I don't know if you formally gave yours. I heard a little bit about yours, but what did you think?
I dug it, honestly. Like Chowder's always really good at writing like those like melodies and stuff that just really stick with you. And I know this one, I'm gonna be humming out this one. It's like I will say, like, I didn't really hear much of a resemblance to the original riff, or like if there's any nod to it in there. But
Yeah,
There
it's not.
was, it was the notes. Like I remember in the beginning I had a hard time finding the notes, and I even asked Eric what notes were used and kind of what tuning it was in. And the bass that I have and like like the strings that I use, they don't really like go down to that low tuning. So I use the same notes just like in our regular typical standard tuning that we use the C sharp, drop C sharp.
Oh,
gotcha.
okay,
So
gotcha.
the notes are there, is just in a different tuning, so it sounds higher. But the pattern, I did switch it up a bit. I played with it, but it's the same notes also.
Okay.
Cool.
So with mine's up next. I'm J.M. Faupel. I am a solo musician currently, but I collaborate a lot with artists. I'm currently working on some projects with both Eric and Chowder. I have collaborated with Stefan. We are sort of always in the process of working in something, and currently only completed project is Play Dates with Supervillains. When I heard the riff, so this is a full disclosure, this is a riff that was presented to me before to hopefully write something out of, and I could not get anything out of it. But I offered Stefan to see if he wanted to contribute to this project again, like right under the riff. And he was unsure initially, but he threw this riff back in there. And I was like, yeah, perfect, cool. And what I did was I chopped it up and I just found something else I like. So everything that you're gonna hear is from the sample. I treated it like a sample. I didn't play anything in this song. I didn't play anything in this song. It's all basically from what Stefan provided for me. All right,
Cool.
so mine is called
Psychic Unity of Mankind.
that one. Yeah, that one. Psychic Unity of Mankind.
Let's hear it.
Bold statement.
Yeah. All right. I still I'm all about that. I'm actually really excited, really proud. I was really excited for you guys to hear that.
Yeah, that was cool, man. That was
really dope, man.
very
I love-
dramatic.
Oh man,
So Eric, you're the next one on my screen. So how did you feel about mine?
I love the industrial vibes, and I love that you kind of beefed up like the recording a bit, so it just like gives you that extra punch like to the face. This is something I could literally like see in a movie, like for sure.
Yeah, exactly.
What about you, Stefan, for the writer of the riff?
I was trying to pick through like where all those samples came from. It was interesting that correct me if I'm wrong, but it sounded like you took a guitar line and you increased the frequency, or maybe like raised it like 2 octaves or something to that effect, and there was sort of like a drony little melody that was going on amongst like cutting up the riff and allowing a lot more space in between for all those things to kind of naturally like blend together, like you might like Eric said, like you might hear in a movie or something to that effect. It was cool. It was profound and it was dramatic.
Oh yeah, that's actually absolutely what I did. It's for the bass also, I dropped it. I think it was just an octave that I dropped it. But yeah, for that drone, I took it up 2 octaves, cut it up and stuff, and every element of that song, even the synth and stuff that you heard, is just a synth made from the sample.
Interesting.
How about
I
you,
guess
Chowder?
So for me, yeah, kind of like Eric said, I like the industrial feel that it had, and it also had a build up to it. And I want to say it kind of reminded me of Slipknot in the beginning, like that the build up, the weird like little tinkering sounds that are in the beginning. So I definitely like that. It also had a bit of a sci-fi feel to it. So there's all these elements that I'm a fan of when it comes to movies or music and everything. Like everything was practically there. So I just had a big old grin when it was like playing, and then like the heaviness kicked in. Like Eric said, just got punched in the face basically. So all this building up, how symphonic and like the synth noise and everything, like it made me happy. Best way I can say.
Awesome. Well, that's good. I was glad for that. I was
Um,
uh
I think the only thing is kind of like you said, it was a little short. So I was like
Yeah.
wanting more when it ends. Like, no, not right there. Why right there? I could build more.
You're
Aside from
supposed
that, it
to,
was pretty good. Definitely felt like a teaser. Like you just want more now.
yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
I mean, most albums start off with those like interlude tracks, right? That are like
Yeah.
40 some seconds, so that'd be perfect for that too.
Hmm.
Right, starting off right before the song. Like, yeah,
Yeah.
that could work in an album.
This was cool. I definitely heard some different things from the riff. There was some nods to the original riff, but definitely some branching out, both melodically, harmonically, all that stuff. And I was glad to hear. I was glad to hear this pay off.
It's
Yeah.
trippy too,
Yeah.
like when you think about it musically, like how a riff can go like from something to another thing, like in a beat, you know?
And honestly, I was unsure of how this would go because I wasn't sure if any of you were going to try to finish the song, like quote unquote, see how you could finish the song, and there was going to be like just different takes on where this riff would go, like further in the song or something like that. But we all sort of took the riff and did something way different with it.
I think it's just more fun doing it this way. I mean, I think if we had to sit down and write a whole song and finish the whole song, I don't think we would have been as successful with it.
I agree.
Just the fact that it's just like shorter is just like it felt really fun to do, you know.
Yeah.
And it also gave me an excuse to use the 7 string, so
Yeah.
grateful for that.
All right. Any closing thoughts? We'll start with Eric, I guess, if you have anything else to say or add or anything of the sort.
No, this is cool, man. I'm like pretty happy that you asked us to do this. Like at first, I was just like, oh, I have no idea how we're gonna go about it, but it came through a lot better than I thought it would.
How about you, Stefan? What any final thoughts or closing anything?
For me, this has been very interesting to see everybody's take on this riff and just sort of branch it out, like make it their own. And I think it was very cool. I feel honored, quite honestly.
Well, I was excited to have you included. Like, I think my original intent was to see if you wanted to take part in flipping a riff, but I was glad that you were able to take part in it in some sense. I was glad we used your riff.
Yeah, I'd be interested in giving this a go from somebody else's riff.
Awesome. That's great to hear. How about you, Chowder?
Yeah, I had fun with this. And there's another one I would be down to do it again. The only thing is kind of like Stefan said, it did take a little while for me to start doing it to begin with, and then all of a sudden I actually sat down and did it, and I was like, this is awesome. Let's keep doing. So like I just kept on like playing with it, fiddling around with it. So I like how it kind of like it tests your knowledge in music, or at least it opens your mind to like what else you can do, and like it's a challenge, and I like the challenge.
Yeah, I was definitely glad with how everything played out. I was glad that this was able to come to fruition and stuff. All right, well, thank you guys all again for joining me. I appreciate your submissions. I appreciate you taking part, and hopefully I see you guys on this again, either participating or submitting a riff.
That's good.
See you all. Thanks again. So I'm definitely going to keep trying to make this happen. I'm definitely going to try to keep this up as a series, maybe just with musician friends of mine, but I'd love if other artists wanted to join as well. This definitely pushed me to do things that I wouldn't normally do in my songwriting that I definitely am going to continue to do. Great songwriting exercise, and I'm excited for what's going to come next. Please remember to like this video if you enjoyed it, comment, and share this video with anybody you think would be interested. Thanks.